Have you always wanted to start your own podcast but don't know where to start? Don't have the right equipment? Don't have a place to host your new podcast? If this is you, then you probably haven't heard of Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain how Anchor works. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You are listening to the Centaku Media podcast, a source for sharing interests beyond the scope of anime because we're in the center of other otaku interests. Hey everyone, this is Sandra Chan, your host of the Centaku Media podcast, or rather the Centaku Media Journal, in which you are listening to Season 2, Episode 2 of this very show. And for a little bit, there might be a delay with releasing episodes because it's just been that kind of year, or rather, in between seasons for me. Guys, I was hoping to put out new episodes every Saturday, but it's been working against me, rather. So, there might be a double episode posted at some point. Maybe it'll be, this might not happen again, but if it does, then of course I can't control it because we do have to take care of ourselves, right? So, I still plan on, staying on schedule. So, if I'm 2 weeks behind that next following episode, it might be a double episode, but of course it'll be irrelevant at this point, but I don't care because I just want to, explain what's going on. Just to share with those that are possibly out of the loop with their favorite fandoms. And of course, this is what Centaku Media is all about. So if you are in the same mood set as I am, then stick around. And in the Centaku Media Journal, for those that are listening for the first time, I talk about news from different realms of the anime, gaming, and music spectrum. So, again, if that's your mood, then you found the right place. So, I'm repeating myself at this point, but let's move on. So anyway, in this episode, should I tease what I'm going to talk about? Maybe I should start doing that, because I usually spend the first 10 minutes talking about useless stuff, but I'm kind of running out of steam for that now, or rather, I'm using that opportunity to talk about something useless into different segments of the podcast. So, Ikari Strain, which will be published at some point this year, which talks about all the issues I've had with a particular fandom or the fandom as a whole, or anything in that matter, in that realm rather. It's basically in the same, format, if not longer, compared to, what grinds my gears, which is, it was a skit on Family Guy. It was Peter talks about the little things that annoys him, and it's actually a cosplayer who goes by, the real Peter Griffin, that actually has that same segment, and he nails Peter Griffin, he nails the impersonation, rather, dead on. So I'm he's my hero. But of course, cosplay and stuff hasn't been a thing for almost a year now. But it seems like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to, keep our heads up, be safe, a mask up, wash our hands, and we can get through this together. Alright, so enough sappy stuff. So for this episode, we're going to talk a bit about Demon Slayer and the thoughts from the creator of the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise. And we also have a couple of members, or not a couple members, but rather a couple of disbandments to talk about in the K-pop realm, and also some gaming stuff. And actually, one of this is actually right up my alley, concerning Final Fantasy XIV. But before we get to all of that, we are going to talk about anime first, which is what we always do. And this one's going to be about Demon Slayer. So, for those out of the loop with anime, so Demon Slayer is the biggest thing right now, and over the holiday season, it surpasses the movie Your Name as the second all-time Japanese film worldwide. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train anime, has become at least the second highest earning anime film of all time worldwide, topping Your Name's worldwide $357 million earnings. Mugen Train is also now at least the second highest earning Japanese film of all time worldwide. Taiwanese film distributor Muse Communication Co. Ltd. announced on Wednesday that the film has earned 600 million Taiwanese dollars, or about 2.2 billion yen, or in US dollars, $21.43 million, after 69 days in the Taiwanese box office. In addition, it is the third highest earning film in Hong Kong in 2020, earning 28.59 million Hong Kong dollars, or about 3.69 million US dollars, combined with its current Japanese total of 34. This is like a huge number. I want to say it's billion. I can't million or billion right. I want to say 34 billion yen, or about $336 million. The film has earned the equivalent of $361.12 million from the three territories alone. And of course, the first anime movie of all time was Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away, which was the first anime film worldwide until Your Name surpassed it in December 2016. However, Spirited Away reclaimed the throne after its first theatrical release in China in 2019 and increased its total box office with revival screenings in Japan last summer. According to the website, the number Spirited Away's current worldwide box office total is $383 million, although the currency exchange rate has varied significantly over the past 20 years. And also, the Mugen Train opened in Taiwan on October 30th and was the highest earning film in Taiwan in 2020. It is now the highest earning animated film of all time in Taiwan, where in Japan, the film has now sold, as of early January, a total of 25.48 million tickets. So, a huge accomplishment for Demon Slayer. So congratulations to the staff of the film and to fans as well. Demon Slayer, I'm told that it's a really good show, but I haven't had the opportunity to check it out myself. But probably gonna be a late bloomer for this show because I'm actually still working my way through my season 4 of My Hero Academia and all that. So of course that's kind of a story of my life right now, because I know if you think with not much to do, not many concerts to go to, I have more time, but I still have to work. I'm still what you would consider an essential employee, so I still have to work. And of course, I've had COVID, unfortunately, but thankfully it wasn't as bad as most people. But I still don't want anyone else to get it, so like, I don't even want to get it again, because it's possible to catch it again, and I just don't want to take that chance. So I'm trying to, spend all the time I have around work, and even like I have to curb creating content, which is why it might take a while for one episode to get released. So please bear with me. So yeah, I'll get to it eventually. It will still be there, But anyway, so next, speaking of Demon Slayer, so with the success of the Demon Slayer movie, there's been a lot of speculation from a lot of well-known anime directors and producers and even artists, and one of them is Yoshiyuki Tomino, who is the father of the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise. He describes the success of the Demon Slayer movie as a coincidence. Live Door News posted an interview with Yoshiyuki Tomino where he discussed his thoughts on the hit anime series Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. First, he described the modern anime landscape, remarking that because anime has become so mainstream, and work needs to be created with real seriousness in order to stand out these days. He brought up Demon Slayer as an example of an anime that has transcended demographic boundaries. Tomino professed that he initially felt jealous about Demon Slayer because of how the property was able to attract such a dedicated and talented staff. Tomino, who takes a keen interest in headhunting and finding the right people to work on projects with him, remarked on how he's had experiences where people who were suitable at one time become incompatible or fade out of the picture. That's why when Demon Slayer came along, I thought, damn, those guys did it good. When I discovered the team they had assembled, he said, the voice actors are great, the composer of the song that everyone knows is great, so many talented people showed up. in that sense, I felt surpass envy, and I started thinking, man, those guys sure are something. Tomino then continued, having said that, I don't think that Demon Slayer is like calculated or contrived to work. I think that is assemblage. I think it's assemblage. Was quite a coincidence. He went on to say that he thought that the vocalists have been really passionate about the anime. It's strange to have encounters that align so perfectly, he said. In the anime industry, he explained, people often get chosen for a job because they just happen to be there, or because their schedules happen to align at the right time, or other coincidences of a similar nature. It can be rare for people with exactly the ideal talents or innate qualities to get chosen. Later in the interview, Toman also shared his belief that Japan's anime films have reached a quote-unquote limit in terms of the peak amount of popularity they can achieve. In the past 2 or 3 years, we've been seeing a trend among live-action films where they have been going digital without reluctance. Seeing that, I have to honestly say that we're currently at the limit. Anime films probably won't spread further than this. There is the possibility that something will show up that becomes representative of the era, but in the end, I think Demon Slayer was a coincidence as well. The elements that made it a hit were assembled through coincidence, so I get the impression that its level of popularity is the upper limit. So you've heard it from the veteran, anime industry veteran himself, Yoshiki Tomino, and do have like some thoughts about what he says. Basically, he's like he this was in the 70s, so Gundam came out in the 70s, so of course he has that old mindset, I guess, of how they operated the anime industry in the late 70s throughout the 80s. And like he said, that he worked with people that basically were the right for the job, but then they actually, like, I guess for lack of a better word, they were a show of their former selves. So I guess in other words, he was picky about who he wanted. It like, oh, you're really good, I'll take you on for my project. And then again at the end, it was like, but like, definitely, I think nowadays there are like better. It seems like a lot of creators or like staffers, not just creators but staffers. It does seem like they actually get recognized for their talents, and yeah. So I guess this is the best way to explain it, is that he's learning from his mistakes. He's been in the industry for like 50 years now. For almost 50 years, he realizes that times have changed, and then he wishes he had that same mindset back in the day. But again, like Gundam also had its ups and downs too. Like, it got canceled. The first Gundam series got canceled, and if I remember correctly, being the Gundam, one of the few, like not one of the few, but one of the dozens, or if not thousands of Gundam sages out there. The Gundam series was originally created just for toys, but people were actually interested in the story. So now, 40 plus years later, people want more. And it's not just the model kits, but I think the story itself too is very iconic. So I guess that's one thing about Gundam, that he shouldn't feel bad about, because like, even though the show's still going on nowadays, there's still opportunities for the people that he would have turned down to actually get their, moment in the spotlight. So I hope that made sense. So I know people have different views of what he said, but people, like, there's some people that out there that had a closed mind at one point, but now he has an open mind about the success of modern anime movies. So speaking of Gundam, last year I was really excited about the new Gundam project, which is Hathaway's Flash, which was originally based on a novel around 1988, 1989, which takes place following the events of Shar's counterattack, and it involves the son of Bright Noah, Hathaway Noah. So it was originally going to be released back in June or July, around that time. But of course, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it got postponed indefinitely. But as of now, we finally got a new release date and a new trailer. So the Gundam channel on YouTube posted a first full trailer of the Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway's Flash anime film, or Kiro Senshi Gundam Sanko no Hathaway. The Japanese version of the trailer reveals that Soma Saito will voice Lane Aim, yes, Lane and Aim, AIM, the young Earth Federation pilot for the mobile suit Penelope. The Japanese version also announces that the film will start screening in 4D in Dolby Cinema on opening day, which is now May 7th, 2021. The trailer also shows the Messer F-01, the main mobile suit of the Anti-Earth Federation organization, MAFTI. The film will play in 214 theaters, a franchise record high. The film will open in Japan on May 7th after being delayed. So, here's hoping it doesn't get delayed again. If not, well, I mean, if it does get delayed again, then of course it'll be probably until 2022 until it comes out. But you also gotta wonder, because I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, and actually what's interesting is that it hasn't. This story doesn't mention if it's still a trilogy or not, but then again, I guess it's still, scheduled as such. If anything, I'm pretty sure the other two movies in the series have been delayed significantly too, although they've probably had, I don't know how they operate, but they may have had time to work on the other two movies during lockdown, so that way they can at least catch up to things. So hopefully that's the case. If not, well, we'll be patient. So we've waited long enough, but hopefully if when things get better towards May, it'll go on as scheduled. And actually, when you think about it, the Demon Slayer movie actually, did very well considering we're still in the middle of the pandemic for it to do so well. So I'm like, I know Japan, they do have like a better lockdown rules compared to certain other countries, so I'm not gonna go into because we kind of know who they are, but we're gonna get better, right? But so hopefully that will be the case with Hathaway's Flash, and I think it is like around April that they are expected to receive the vaccine, I think. So hopefully we'll have something positive come out of this moving forward. Just throughout the rest of 2021. Anyway, so speaking of returning anime series, so to close out our anime news segment, so who here remembers Access Power's Hetalia? Because you remember, like 10 years ago, like at least 10, 11 years ago, 2010, Hetalia was the biggest thing, and you can actually tell what's the next big thing throughout the whole decade. As I think in 2010 was Hetalia, and then you had Attack on Titan, and then for the longest time, and I know this is not anime related, you got Homestuck, which stuck around for a little too long, and then you had gosh, I can't remember. I guess trying to say what other fandoms were there after the time Homestuck came and went. I think it was, I want to say My Hero Academia, but that wasn't until recently. I guess maybe it was like the very beginning of My Hero Academia, and I think a little bit of it might have been Food Wars. I think Food Wars was probably the biggest thing at some point, and of course One Piece, but One Piece never dies. But 1,000 chapters in, I think there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, but it might be another 2 years before we actually get there. But anyway, so Access Power Hetalia is making a comeback, and it's called Hetalia World Stars. And in January, they confirmed 4 returning cast members in addition to who they've announced previously. So the official website of Hideka's Himaruya's Hetalia World Stars manga confirmed 4 more returning cast members. So the newly announced returning cast members are Kokoro Tanaka as Latvia, Takahiro Mishima as Finland, Keiko Sakai as Sweden, and Keiichiro Asai as Australia. And the anime will premiere in spring of 2021. The anime Hetalia World Stars previously announced other returning cast members such as Daisuke Namikawa as Italy, Hiroki Yasumoto as Germany, Hiroki Takahashi as Japan, Kazuyuki Konishi as America, Noriaki Sugiyama rather as England, Masaya Onosaka as France, Yasuhiro Takato as Russia, and Yuki Kaida as China. Hiroshi Watanabe, Kazuyuki Fudeyasu, and Mariko Oda are all back as director, series script supervisor, and character designer, respectively, with Studio Dean returning for animation production. So, this World Stars, the manga, was the latest manga in the franchise. The manga launched in Shonen Jump Plus on the same day as the online manga service launched, but it went on hiatus in April 2018. The manga will resume in Shonen Jump Plus this winter. Shueisha has published 4 compiled book volumes for the manga. Himaruya launched a new manga about Japanese prime ministers in Shueisha's Jump SQ on December 4th. So, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to this year, even like returning favorites as such. So, for those that are really big fans of Hetalia, there's something to look forward to, so I'm really excited for y'all and enjoy as soon as it comes out. That's all for anime news, and moving on to gaming news. So I got 2 things to look forward to for real, especially if you're fans of Final Fantasy XIV and Pokemon. So, the biggest thing right here that I have to talk about, and it's actually probably going to be discussed in the next episode of the podcast, is the New Year's message that was written and posted by the producer of Final Fantasy XIV, Naoki Yoshida, aka Yoshi P. So, the following letter from Yoshi P, basically, he communicates with all the fans of the series, and considering how the past year has been, he wants to basically give people to talk about in the weeks and months and the year to come. And of course, this posting of this letter has been speculation on whether if this upcoming series of events will signal the end of the story of Final Fantasy XIV, but I will read along with you guys and see if it answers any of your questions, to see if the story is actually coming to a close. So, hello, this is the producer and director Naoki Yoshida wishing all of you Warriors of Light a Happy New Year. 2020 was a year that won't soon be forgotten, and I mean that not only for our development and operations teams, but also for our players and, indeed, the entire world. Even now, the threat of COVID-19 continues to present us with unprecedented daily challenges, the likes of which we only knew about through history books. In the midst of this adversity, we are determined to provide you with a source of entertainment while remaining mindful that our team members, too, have their own families and are facing the same hardships as everyone else. Setting up stable working environments and figuring out how to get on with things was, I think, a common experience for a great many people. And through it all, we've received messages of support from a truly staggering number of players. When things get rough, it is your voices which spurs us on and keep us moving forward. We thank you for all your thoughtful words of encouragement. Adapting to the obstacles of COVID-19 is an ongoing struggle, but we remain committed to developing and running 14 to the best of our ability. So where do we stand? The saga of Shadowbringers concluded in patch 5.3 and hinted at the next story to come. But of course we had patch 5.4, which then flipped the page to the final chapter and A Tale of the Star, that's in quotes. Keep a close eye on the team's progress this year as events build once more to a thrilling and unexpected quote-unquote ending to the story, of course, not to 14 itself. I'd barely finished typing this when I had an unannounced visitor, a minstrel, who, as he introduced himself on a journey from faraway lands, he placed a note into my hands and had this poem written on it. I can't even read it with the way it's written. Let's see, one I'm going to just read it to the best of my ability. One progeny may never know wherefore we look unto the sky, nor why we dig for truths below. We learned this scorn on watch to watch him die. I don't know. I can't read that. But anyway, it's a journal from a resolute man. But anyway, who is this resolute man, and what's this about his progeny? I turned to put these questions to the traveler, but he was gone, vanished as if swallowed into a rift between worlds. While we could ponder the meaning of this verse and make a few guesses, the upcoming Final Fantasy XIV announcement showcase planned for February might help us make more sense out of it. As the day draws near and we make our preparations, I'm as excited as anyone to see what this event has in store. Meanwhile, we're entering our 11th year of operation since the original release of 14. Oh my gosh, like, time flies so fast, doesn't it? But then again, considering the way the game's been, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. But anyway, the development and running of an MMORPG is an incredibly difficult undertaking, and the larger in scale they are, the fewer of them survive beyond the 10-year mark. It's thanks to you, our warriors of light, and your inexhaustible enthusiasm that we've reached this amazing milestone. Please continue to lend us your support, and we'll do our utmost to reward your passion for the game of captivating stories and high adventure. As the battle of COVID-19 rages on, one of the toughest jobs falls on our healthcare workers who risk themselves on the front lines to care for the infected and shield the rest of us from harm. Amongst the words of encouragement we received, there were many messages from these self-same workers that were both heartfelt and heartbreaking. No matter how tough things get, I can always see my friends in Final Fantasy XIV. It gives me the strength to face the next day. Please keep it up. We need this. If anyone should be grateful for something, it's us. Thank you for everything you do. You work under enormous stress, but despite all the sacrifices you make, some people still treat you with disrespect, and it's unforgivable. Sometimes you must wonder why you work so hard when you encounter those who clearly don't appreciate it. But you can't carry the world on your shoulders. Our earnest comments may not affect you as keenly as one pointed and thoughtless remark, but know that you always have our gratitude and support. Allow me to offer you that at the very least. We will keep doing all we can, and I hope our efforts give you reason to smile in these difficult times. Signed, Final Fantasy XIV producer, director Naoki Yoshida. That actually put a tear to my eye because I'm actually going through that issue myself, and as of recording this, I found myself playing Final Fantasy XIV more than I ever did when I first started playing, and I'm actually having issues with a coworker who apparently doesn't really appreciate my time and just complains about the littlest things just to put me down. And this person has been in a situation too. Like, we work together, so why do they not recognize, that what they say puts, basically, another pin into your shoe or whatever makes you uncomfortable. It's actually really, unnecessary for this person to do or say things just to make me feel uncomfortable. Like, what's the point of that? So I know things are tough, but don't put someone down just because don't put someone down like that. And I really appreciate, I know this was a month and a half ago that this email was sent to people, but it's, it still needs to be said even 2 months later almost. So thank you, Naoki, for making Final Fantasy XIV what it is now, considering it had a interesting release, reception, and like I said, off the record from the letters, that it doesn't feel like it's been that long, although I've been playing since 2015, on and off, mind you. So I think from 2020 up until now, beginning of 2021, I think this is the longest I've played Final Fantasy XIV. So I finally got to level 80. I finally cleared all the expansion packs and even the current patch, so I'm up to date. So now I'm just gonna catch up, trying to catch up on other things I missed out on in the previous expansions. So I am really looking forward to what is to be announced, which is our next news topic, is details of the upcoming Final Fantasy 14 announcement showcase. Of course, it will be streamed on various platforms, which Square has revealed that the showcase will be on Twitch, YouTube, and the Japanese streaming platform Nico Nico. The broadcast will begin at 5:30 Pacific Time, 8:30 Eastern Time for those that live in the U.S. on February 5th, and at 1 a.m. GMT / 2:30 a.m. CET / 10:30 a.m. Japanese Standard Time on February 6, 2021. The official Lodestone website mentions that the Final Fantasy XIV announcement showcase stream will be in Japanese with live English translators. The viewers who prefer the YouTube streaming service can already set a reminder using the website's feature. If you're interested in using Twitch, you can follow the official Final Fantasy XIV Twitch channel to receive an alert once the broadcast goes live. Square Enix teased the announcement showcase in November 2020, tweeting that there would be some cool things, in quotes, shared during the broadcast. However, the 14-hour broadcast that was originally scheduled to happen after the showcase has been canceled. This is due to situations surrounding COVID-19. Additionally, plans to have a live audience has been scrapped, though this would have been through invitation only. So, get hyped, y'all. This is probably going to be the next expansion announcement, and probably another patch, just because I feel like there should be at least one more patch before the next expansion, and this will probably explain it. And I'm not going to go into details, because for those that haven't caught up with 14, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. So, yeah, so that's my prediction. Let's just say that's my prediction. Let's just go on predictions before the announcement. So, my prediction will probably at least maybe one more patch that sets up for the next expansion pack, and the next expansion probably won't come out until June, which is, kind of typical from what we've seen so far for the previous expansion pack. So, like, I think Heavensward was released like in May or June, which was 2015, I think. Yeah, I think it was 2015 it came out. And then, of course, 2017 we had Stormblood, which was also released around the same time. And Shadowbringers, which was released in June, early June, I believe, or end of June. But anyway, thing is that it's the second quarter of the year, and, of course, in 2-year increments. So, of course, we are due this year for another expansion pack, since it will have been 2 years since the release of Shadowbringers. So, also, one thing I've noticed with previous iterations of patches of 14 is that they have a tie-in with either another Square Enix game or another Final Fantasy game. So I'm not a big fan, or rather I haven't actually played through it, so I can't really gauge on whether I would be a big fan of it or rather appreciate it. In Stormblood, there's a raid series, the Rabanastre raid series, that basically retells the story of Final Fantasy 12. So that's like a huge, I guess, like a tribute to Final Fantasy 12 for those that are big fans of Final Fantasy 12. So I barely played Final Fantasy 12. I do have the original version of 12, but I need to get the Zodiac Age. So that'll probably be a game I'll play on Twitch sometime in the future. Although right now, I'm playing Final Fantasy 10 on top of Final Fantasy 14. So yeah, I'm replaying 10, and eventually I will replay Final Fantasy 10-2. And of course, it's going to be the remastered version, so of course it'll be some new content I haven't seen before, since it's based on the international version. But anyway, Stormblood, you have the Rabanastre Raid series, and then right now the Eden's Raid series. I think some of it is inspired by Final Fantasy 8, because if you go into the if you go into a certain area, I'm trying not to go into spoilers, but if you go into the area where Eden, where you had to progress to get to the actual raid, they play the song from Final Fantasy 8 where you're on the world map. It's that song. So like, if you're familiar with Final Fantasy 8, yeah, that song plays, and when I heard it, I was like, oh my god. So I actually, just a disclaimer, I haven't even finished Final Fantasy 8. Like, I played it years ago, and that was actually my first Final Fantasy game, but I was not confident in myself because I didn't think I had enough potions to progress to the last part of the story, so I never finished it. But again, I'll probably another possibility to play on the Twitch channel in the future. So yeah, I got a lot to look forward to. So a lot of Final Fantasy games to revisit in the future. But anyway, so I'm hoping that there will be a Final Fantasy X tie-in event. That has to be. Or if not, maybe an introduction of the, maybe a Blitzball minigame? Yeah. Come on, y'all. Blitzball. Who's with me? So I'm really looking forward to that possibility. So let's see what happens during this announcement showcase. So anyway, moving on to Pokemon news. There's not much here, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you know about what I'm about to talk about with Pokemon, and that is the release date of Pokemon Snap, the new Pokemon Snap game. The Pokemon Company shared a new trailer for the new Pokemon Snap alongside the release date for the upcoming title. You can expect to get your hands on new Pokemon Snap on April 30th, 2021. Which is actually like about a week and a half after my birthday, so yay! The latest trailer showcases environments that players will explore to photograph Pokemon seen throughout the series. Pokemon from Pokemon Sword and Shield, such as Grookey, can be spotted in a trailer, while fan favorites like Pichu and Wooper also make an appearance. However, it seems like Professor Oak won't be who the player will report to in this installment, and as a different professor is shown in the video. In addition, 2 different player avatar options are shown in the initial clip. Pre-orders will open on January 15th with Japanese pre-order rewards, including a special Lapras name tag that players can use at the Pokemon Mesa Star arcade machines. So, that's one thing to look forward to with Pokemon this year, and of course, there's always more Pokemon because this year's is their 25th anniversary, and it feels like it was yesterday that we just got introduced to Pokemon, or rather, just like yesterday, it felt like yesterday that we had their 20th anniversary. So, of course, hearing that Pokemon is 25 years old this year is, makes you feel old. So, I'm really looking forward to the new Pokemon Snap game. Of course, that might be a stream title some point in the future, if not just like a highlight reel, but we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to it, so I hope you are too. And that is it for gaming news, and we are going to move on to a few more news segments, and we got a couple of entertainment news to talk about, one J-pop related, one K-pop related, and they're all sad news. It's not too sad, but if you are really into any of these groups I'm about to talk about, then prepare your Kleenexes. So as of the end of December of 2020, one of the longest running J-pop groups, Arashi, disbanded. Arashi has officially suspended all of their activities, finishing off their illustrious 21-year career with a concert titled This is Arashi Live. Besides the concert on Arashi's final day of activities, they performed a special medley at NHK's annual year-end show, Kohaku Utagassen. For Arashi's Kohaku performance, they were accompanied by a plethora of Johnny Jr.'s as backup dancers, including junior groups Hi Hi Jets and Travis Japan. The theme of Kohaku this year was centered around the global COVID-19 pandemic as it continues to impact the lives of every single person on Earth. NHK hopes that the songs of these artists can help heal the hearts of those who are hurt and exhausted by COVID-19 and welcome the new year with a cheerful feeling. Arashi made their debut in November 1999 with the hit single Arashi, debuting at number 1 and almost selling 1 million copies. They went on to have continued success for the next 6 years, but their career began to enter the next level in 2007 with the release of their 18th single, Love So Sweet. Serving as the theme of the drama series Hanayori Dango 2, both the drama and the song were huge hits in Japan and all across Asia. This success continued in 2008, where Arashi solidified their place in the J-pop scene. Their Arashi Marks 2008 Dream Alive was a 5-dome tour with the only other Johnny's act to do so previously was SMOP and Kinky Kids. Arashi took the show overseas, where they performed sold-out concerts in Taiwan, South Korea, and China, with their Shanghai concert marking the very first time a Johnny's act held a concert in China. The same year, Arashi became the third artist behind SMOP and Dreams Come True to hold a performance at Tokyo Central Olympic Stadium. They would make history the following year by being the first artist to perform 3 consecutive days, all sold-out concerts. Arashi's success never wavered in the next decade, continuing to top both album and single charts, star in successful dramas and films, donate CM campaigns or commercial campaigns, and hold sold-out large-scale concerts. As of October 2020, they have sold out sold over 56 million albums, singles, concert DVDs, Blu-rays, making them the best-selling Asian boy band of all time. And it was in January 2019 that Arashi Media announced that they will be ceasing group activities as of December 2020. And of course, we don't know how long this hiatus will last. But usually that announcement was similar to when, going off topic, now that the story's over, that was a similar story presented when SMOP said that they were halting activities, but it seems like SMOP has officially disbanded. Although, like, Arashi might make a comeback, this seems very likely, like, that they might come back. It's very likely they might, like, do a reunion concert, and SMOP might do the same too. And of course, SMOP, I think they announced their suspension of activities like 2 years prior to their date. I wish Arashi the best of luck for their future activities, and especially amidst the pandemic. So, speaking of disbandments, this is an actual disbandment, and we've seen this coming for the past few weeks leading up to the official announcement. And even though it wasn't a very good reception, considering how K-netizens are, just basically K-pop fans in general, GOT7 has officially disbanded. They have officially disbanded. I think as of the announcement of this, it's basically a contract thing. So the news of their contract renewal was near, like. Because I think it was around January, February that they made their debut, and I think it was in 2016, right? Oh gosh, time flies so fast, and that actually makes me so sad. No, it was 2014. But that time flies so fast, I feel like it was yesterday. Because GOT7 was like their biggest, anticipated boy band after 2 p.m. And of course, 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. or one day, for those that have been following both groups since their debut. This was like the really hyped group. And then 2 p.m., of course, they have issues, of course, with Jay Park having to leave the group after all the controversy he had back in 2010, 2011. But thankfully, GOT7, I think, was the only group that hasn't had a whole lot of problems. But, I mean, problems or not, it's just really sad to see JYP's, I guess I want to say third generation boy group, because I think they had GOD. GOD was like in the 90s, and then of course GOT7, I mean, I got 2 p.m. and GOT7. So, but anyway, moving to the story, just to talk about it. So, according to media reports, GOT7, who made their debut under JYP in 2014, has recently ended a contract with JYP after 7 years. And the 2021 Golden Disc Awards was their last activities as part of JYP. Previously, JYP announced, "We are still discussing the contract renewals with the members from different angles and will release an official statement once we have an organized position." Although one or two members showed their intentions to renew the contract, they revealed that if it wasn't a team consensus, then a renewal would not be possible. Recently, a media representative commented, GOT7 had a close bond with one another. We gathered the opinions about the members being together, but the opinions were divided by the agency. After several meetings with the agency, they have decided to part ways. After news of their departure from JYP, fans are also curious to see where each of the members will go. So, for those that are curious, Jin Young, who first received rumors about moving agencies, is currently looking forward to his contract with BH Entertainment. They have currently finished discussing his contract in detail. He will soon begin his path as an actor. Hyugyum also received rumors regarding joining hip-hop label AOMG, which is also a label that was run by Jay Park. Reports reveal that a final meeting with higher management has already gone through. Hyugyum leaned towards this label after learning that he would be able to learn hip-hop and dance professionally. Young Jay received a love call from Sublime Artists. This agency houses actor Song Kang-ho, singer Rain Hani, and more. It is more of an agency rather than a management company. He also received a promise to receive support for not only music but also ads and photo shoots. Leader JB also received numerous love calls from various hip-hop labels and global recording companies. He plans to choose a company that will give him full support for his solo artist career. Jackson, who is a former member that promotes in both China and Korea, will be doing global activities through his own label, Team Wang, and carry out his Korean schedules through an agency. And Bam Bam will actively be promoting in China and Thailand. It looks like he'll be receiving assistance from a content production agency when working in Korea, and he is currently reviewing a contract with Makus Entertainment. And Mark, who is another foreign member, he will be returning to the U.S., where he plans to spend his time with his family in L.A. for the time being, and he also plans on opening his own YouTube channel, and he hopes to do some solo music in the U.S. as well. So it is with heavy hearts that, GOT7 will be parting ways, but we'll see them at their best. And as a K-pop fan that basically has gone to like at least 20 concerts in the past, I guess almost 10 years now. I think 2022 will be 10 years since I attended my first K-pop concert, which was Big Bang. But I managed to see GOT7 perform in Atlanta about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was like 2016, and that's actually I actually had no plans, or rather I did plan on seeing GOT7, but the outcome of it was weird. So my friend, who goes by DJ Panda, we of course, whenever there's a group like this coming to Atlanta, she'll order tickets for herself, me, and possibly one other person who's also into K-pop in our circle. One of my many circles of friends. And she, for some reason, only got one ticket. She wasn't paying attention and got one ticket. And because she felt so bad of just getting one ticket, she gave me her ticket. So I went to go see GOT7, and it was one of my favorite concerts that year. But also, like, I felt really bad. Like, I wish I could give her a ticket, in turn. But I think at that point it had sold out, so no other getting a ticket. So, and if we were talking about GOT7 as a whole, like, she never got to see GOT7, and now they disband. And also, I think in the previous episode of the journal, I think in last season's episode, I talked about I think it was Ian. Ian is no longer with the label, but he still plans on promoting with the group of Fix. So Fix, I didn't get the chance to see, unfortunately, and I think they came to the U.S. in 2012. Because I remember, 2013. See, they came, I think they performed in 2013, because I remember that vividly. It's because 2011 was the first year we had a convention here in Chattanooga called Anime Blast Chattanooga. I worked as a volunteer there. The next year I didn't go because Big Bang came to the U.S. and New Jersey on the same weekend. And then the next year, Fix performed in Dallas, but my friend went. And I had a budget already for helping out that following year of Anime Blast after I missed it. So yeah, 2013 was the last, like the earliest they came to the U.S. But of course, before that, they were at Otaku, which was a shot in the dark for a lot of people. And of course, a lot of people were divided. But of course, a lot of people who are into anime, they were excited to see Fix perform in the U.S. and at their favorite con. So that was a highlight of the K-pop fandom as a whole. So with my friend getting to see Fix and I got to see GOT7, I never got the chance to see Fix, and she'll never get a chance to see GOT7. However, I did get to see Ravi perform in Atlanta a few years back. And of course, I guess considering the nature of the concert, since I guess he would be considered niche in the U.S., where he's probably has some significant following in Korea. I mean, he still has a decent following everywhere, but just in the U.S. because, basically, like, what's this K-pop stuff? Like, I don't get it. And considering Ravi, has a smaller fan base in the U.S., he had a free high touch attached to his concert. So that was a nice touch to that. Pun intended. But Ravi was the only member of Fix I got to see so far. So I told my friend that, hey, if Jackson were to come to the US, because Jackson already has like several solo songs out which you can listen to on Spotify right now, which one song I do recommend is Okay. I recommend that for those that are curious. He has a shot of performing in the US, and who knows, maybe Mark will join him. But I told my friend that, hey, if Jackson or any member of Got7 comes to the US, you're going. So I'm hoping that will be the case soon. Of course, that's after everything goes back to normal. So I look forward to what the members of Got7 have in store for us following their departure from JYP in the group. So best of luck. And that concludes our music news, or entertainment news rather, and one more story to close out the podcast. And this was a big story at the beginning of the year, and it was kind of worrisome for a lot of content creators on Twitter, especially myself, which is, if you've been following Centaku Media on Twitter, or at least Facebook, and I know I haven't been active on any of them other than the story, and when I saw that, I was like, I better make sure I got my bases covered. And that's the Shueisha takedown shuffle. So this was already a story that was to be noted of towards the beginning of 2021. I think it was like in October it was talked about. But Shueisha had supposedly issued takedown notices for a lot of Twitter accounts that post scans of One Piece, Dragon Ball, Bleach, Naruto, anything you could think of that's under Shueisha or Shonen Jump. So at the beginning of 2021, Twitter locked numerous accounts and deleted uploaded images in response to copyright claims allegedly under the name of Japanese manga publisher Shueisha. Many of the images deleted were related to Shueisha properties, included fan art and cosplay photographs. Shueisha told ANN that the copyright takedowns, though, were not from them, not from Shueisha, but from a third party using the company's name without permission. Shueisha denied any involvement in the takedowns. Shueisha also issued a statement on its Manga Plus website on Thursday saying that it has been falsely misrepresented by an individual sending copyright claims and is currently investigating with social media platforms to decide a course of action. On Monday, Twitter user New World Auteur posted a document that alleged that Shueisha did not make the copyright claims, but a third party who supposedly used Shueisha's name to harass others. At New World Auteur's post identified the phone number and the fax number in the claim document as belonging to Kadokawa, not Shueisha as listed. And the Twitter user's post further claimed to identify the user who sent the claims by way of correlating the name used in the claim document with a YouTuber with a similar moniker. The YouTuber allegedly threatened another YouTuber with harassment and copyright claims to coerce them into entering a relationship. Wow. So it's actually, messed up than we thought. We were thinking that, oh, Shueisha's, like, it's understandable, like, they're trying to crack down on piracy, but also when you think about it, it's just a work of one user using the broken copyright claim system between YouTube and Twitter and, basically this whole process of the DMCA for their own advantage. So everyone, basically had their livelihood messed up because of one person, because they can't, basically own up to themselves. And yeah, that's messed up. So as a result, a lot of people who hadn't gotten takedowns, they had to lock their Twitter accounts for a few days until the waves of takedowns stop. And of course, as a precaution, I did the same for the Centaku Media account. But like after we found out that's what happened, people were like, huh. And then now that we've have the most, the gist of the story, it's messed up. And like Shueisha, now is suing that person for misrepresenting them because of their, misdeeds. So yeah, that was an interesting way to kick off January. And of course, it seems like every year, at the beginning of every year, there's always something weird in the industry. But there you go. So hopefully Shueisha won't actually issue takedown notices unless some Twitter account is actively posting scans of a recently released chapter of One Piece or Dragon Ball Super or Naruto or you name it, that anything that's under Shueisha. So we can breathe a little easy for right now, but of course that doesn't negate the whole takedown, copyright law that was initiated at the around October or sometime last year. So yeah, we can really easier just be vigilant. Don't post anything that will get you into trouble. And of course, there are a lot of Dragon Ball content creators that were concerned too. And of course, they had to lock their accounts because they basically post news of leaks of the upcoming chapters and possibly something relating to maybe if it's even still a possibility of like a new Dragon Ball Super, like a second season of Dragon Ball Super. So yeah, they were a little upset about it, but like I said, everything's back to normal now for now. So let's I'll try to, like, if there are any developments on this, I'll keep everyone updated, but yeah, so everyone's Twitter account is fine for now. But anyway, I'm done rambling, and I'm actually done with the Centaku Media Journal of this second episode of 2021. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being patient if there are any delays in new episodes. And if you are interested in listening to more episodes, be sure to check out Centaku Media on the Anchor page, anchor.fm/Centaku Media, and also you can look us up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts, or whatever, almost every single platform or mainstream podcast platform that's out there. It might be on there. And also be sure to check out Centaku Media on social networks at Centaku Media on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitch, which I am streaming not Sunday, but I don't know, I might do a Sunday stream at some point, but I usually do it on my nights off from work. So it's Thursday and Friday nights at 9 p.m. where respectively I'm streaming Final Fantasy X and Shenmue 3. And at some point I am going to do a Anything Goes stream, which is unplanned, and I'll choose a game at random to play. And I'm trying to do Wednesdays, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a thing, so I might do it like on my days off, like before one of the nights of streaming. So it might be a Friday stream actually, but we'll see. But yeah, you can check me out on there. And also, if you really like what I put out, if you appreciate, even though there's been delays, if you appreciate the content I put out, you can also donate to help motivate me put out more content, which is a coffee link called the coffee website, coffee.com/Centaku Media, which is basically like Patreon, but it's very lightweight, and you don't have to commit to a monthly subscription just to see what's gonna happen next. So any form of donation is appreciated. And of course, like I said, I do have a job, but like I said, every little bit counts, and that will go towards improvements, like equipment improvements, and even maybe hosting a dedicated website. Not really dedicated website, but there's a dedicated host to support the website moving forward. That helps, take the edge off the bills. But I appreciate you listening to me ramble on every month, or twice a month rather. But thank you for listening, and until next time, so long.